Welcome back, everybody. Today we're talking about Deadside versus Rust, more specifically Rust Console Edition. Now, this is more or less a Deadside review, but this is from a Rust Console player's perspective, an open world survival player's perspective on all platforms, PC and consoles alike, as we play DayZ, Rust, and now Deadside. So a lot of people have been asking me to play Deadside. And I gotta tell you, I've been liking it so far. So we're gonna walk through all the different things that I do like about it and how it's got me hooked, because this is in the same genre as us. This is open world survival. And I think it has a lot of different things to offer if you do like things like DayZ or even Rust. And here's the thing, I don't think it has to be Rust versus Deadside. I think they all have something to offer, and I think this could be a new game that we put in the rotation on the regular. So let's go ahead and break it down. So as you can already see now, I'm tabbing in and out of third person and first person. I know some people love it, some people hate it. Here's the beautiful thing. Official servers off the rip support both first person only and third person servers. Speaking of servers, do support no raids, which means PvP. So if you place a building down, then there is no raiding on that. I don't think it's completely in. I saw it for like a day and then it disappeared. I looked into it a bit further, and it does look like that's going to be added and be tweaked a little bit. And even official servers that will support no raiding during the week or even raid times themselves, which I think is great. I mean, fantastic. So as I said before, Rust Console Edition, I don't think it has to be versus Deadside versus Rust Console Edition, but since Rust Console Edition is experiencing kind of a slump here in the early half of 2025, I do want to future-proof this. And not to say by any means that we'll stop playing Rust or that Rust is dead. By no means am I saying that. But we are waiting for some more heavy-hitting updates. And even if you are in the middle of Rust with the heavy updates or whatever, you know, trains, cars, whatever, if you got wiped, this might be a good game to kind of rotate out to. Or even if you're waiting for the new content, kind of like we are, again, a good game to kind of put in the rotation. Because this game off the rip offers quite a bit. Transportation and also base building. Now, can it be a little bit janky? Sure, but here's the thing. Rust had the same roots as this game. As a matter of fact, I see a lot of the same, I don't want to say mistakes, but there are things that evolved from the basic building from the Rust side of things that I kind of see here, which is okay, because to be fair, even if there's glitches or some weird game stuff, mechanics, if the gameplay is good, it doesn't matter, right? Because you can play around it. If you're having a good time, you don't care about the weird stuff. Speaking of, one of the weird things, I'm just going to call it a glitch because that's what it is. Sometimes when you're accessing the menu, let's see if I can get to it. The menu system is a little weird. So like if I hit the build menu, a little clunky, but sometimes if the animation doesn't clear and then something else comes up, the menu will get stuck, which means you either have to wreck yourself and respawn, or you have to close the game and open it up. Annoying for sure, but guess what? Hasn't stopped me from playing. As a matter of fact, I find myself playing all of the time. Another thing I really do like about this game right now is that off the rip, it's got the comms built in and a lot of people talk to each other, which DayZ I think is like that. I think that's very nice. I'm into it. I'm kind of afraid to go outside of the base. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to take a little trip and talk some more about different things. But hopefully this all makes sense here. So let me go ahead and close this. By the way, the menu system here, there's like your action weapons there on the left, which is Y for me on the console here. And then you hit your inventory stuff, which is like your equip belt. But then there's your inventory here, and there's certain things that go in certain backpacks that don't. So it's a little clunky, but as I said before, Rust had the same roots. They had a very clunky menu system for quite some time. So believe it or not, the Rust we know now actually was a deviation. It was called Experimental Branch many moons ago. I want to say almost a decade ago. And the Rust we know today was the experimental deviation they did, and then it just slowly merged into that, and now it's just Rust. But before that, we had a lot of different things. So, like I said, this menu system feels a very, very early Rust. Same with the building as well. Again, not as fleshed out as Rust, but still a lot of fun, and I think worth it. Okay, so let's talk about the map here for a second. One of the major things I do like here, we have safe zones, but get this, it has a transit system. So you can fast travel to these different spots. I think I'm backed up all the way. Yeah, how cool is that, right? And then we're going to actually head over to a safe zone where we talk about some more stuff here, but I love that. I think that's great. Oh, we're doing that. I'm a little scared to be doing this, but we'll do it while we're talking here. Rust PC has vehicles, yes, but we are waiting for our major vehicles on Rust Console Edition. But guess what has a lot of vehicles right now? This game does. Motorcycles with a sidecar, regular cars, and they spawn a lot, and they're everywhere. You can also place them on your base, and just like TCs in Rust, I mean, we do have TCs here. But there's an extra TC for vehicles. So if you place a vehicle on your base, you have to put different types of vehicular items inside of that mechanical bench, I think that's what it's called, to keep the upkeep going on your vehicles. So I can put this inside of a base if I so desire. Don't hit anything. I think that's great. Keep a car. You can also put code locks on your vehicles. Things do cost quite a bit to do that, but that's okay. It's strange because it feels like early Rust, early H1Z1, the survival game. If anybody remembers that, that was a ton of fun. Not the Battle Royale, although that had its own pull. I really miss old school H1Z1 survival. I think it was fantastic. So I feel there's base building kind of feels a little bit like that. Even some of the combat feels pretty good. Now these vehicles do have storage, not unlike Rust. I was going to say console edition, but we don't have cars yet, but we will. But on PC, we do have vehicle storage and whatnot, which is fantastic. But here's a feature that I think is probably the biggest win. You see it in mods on both DayZ and Rust, but not on the official. I think this is such a great idea. We're actually heading up to the safe zone now. Hopefully you can hear me over the vehicle's engines. Alright, so those red flags represent the safe zone. We're in it now. But there's a faction here, and it's a base. Let's see if we pull up here real fast. Beep boop, beep boop. So get this. You pull up here, and there's traders built right in, dude. Look at this. How cool is this? And you can do lots of different stuff here. I think this is where some of the longer progression is great. Hopefully nobody steals my Who Ride. Okay, so if you walk around here, there's two different traders that I'm aware of. Again, I'm fairly new to the game still. You've got your ATM to kind of transfer items if you want to, but check it out, dude. Trade. I can sell stuff. I can sell stuff for reputation, which is actually why I'm here. I'm actually here to sell some of these bad boys. But look at this. I can buy different things here. The R1 stands for rank 1 for reputation. You can do different things. So that's where some of the longer gameplay can come in. And there's also another trader over here. I think that's great. But here's the one I think is the biggest win, I think, for a lot of us avid players here. Ooh, I'm going to sell that for sure, buddy. Boy, I'm rich. So get this. A lot of us, you know, it's cool that we have bases and the rating and stuff is in this game, obviously. But get this. That storage here on the left is persistent and nobody can touch it, right? Oh my goodness, this is amazing. So, you know, if you gotta go to school, go to work, or clap cheeks or something, or all of the above, you can take your valuables and throw them in here and be like, yep, it is what it is. You know, if they rate us, they rate us. Put your boom, skibbity boom in here. How great is that? Now, they do have an upsell where you can double the storage space for like $9 if you want to, but you don't have to. And this is for each server, and it does persist at all times unless there's a wipe. But I don't think they do a lot of wipes, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah, that storage is amazing. So let's say you're out there, you get a good start going, and you're like, man, I don't have time to build a base. I got to go clap cheeks or something, right? Or eat lasagna. Whatever. You could just go, yeah, that's fine. Let me just go up here and dump it in here, and I'm going to sign out. Peace. Yeah, what a great solution that is. I know we kind of have that in DayZ, but they're kind of taken away from us. Like different characters you can sign out with like different storage. And they've kind of penalized us by signing in and out. But still, I love DayZ. But what a great solution for that, right? Fantastic. The bench system seems to be more than just a workbench. We have different crafting, but you can see here there's a regular workbench. Then there's a wood planer. Then there's a metal planer. And the electricity, the generator, it's not as in-depth as Rust, but this you place on the floor, run it, and then it'll run things like the planer and then the metal planer. Fantastic. We have code locks for the base. Very familiar with that. And get this. Let me see if I can find this here. We have items up here. Here's a code lock for a vehicle. Boom! And then we have raid stuff here. We do have turrets in this game. Hello. Shotgun trap. Familiar. Auto turret 1. Auto turret 2. Oh, there we go. Auto turret 2. And then we have radio station, and then, you know, various things like C4, that kind of thing. Very familiar. Fantastic, right? Oh my goodness. Like, you could just sit here and work reputation on this guy just to get, like, better weapons and stuff. Fantastic. And again, that gives you the option to kind of pop back in later, buy a bunch of things, and then go out there and go ham. Because a lot of these high-tier weapons come from things like the airfield. Daisy, anyone? Actually, we can kind of hear it now. Here, let's talk about this for a second. We do have different events on the map. Not as robust as Rust yet, but still a lot of fun. Rust does have scientists that are on the map that spawn randomly, but here there's NPCs kind of everywhere, and some of them roam, and some of them are convoys. Some of them are part of those missions. And it's enough around the map that, like, yes, this is a big map, but when you hear that activity, you kind of know someone's kind of close. And it can also create some interesting scenarios where you're fighting, and it can really tip the scales for either party depending on who falls into what. Now, the early stuff, yeah, you can, like the Tier 1, Tier 0 type roaming guys are obviously pretty easy, but they can overwhelm you if there's enough, and they do get harder. As we said, you know, with the Daisy, with the Daisy example, like the airfield, obviously there's a lot of high-tier loot down here, but then the NPCs get a lot crazier. There you go. This is like an elite drop, I think. Or is this is the elite drop. And then this is like hard, I think. Yeah, hard. There we go. Epic! So then the NPCs get crazy. There's like turrets and stuff, so you have to come geared. That's where you get a lot of the endgame stuff for raiding weapons. But again, if we leveled up that trader, we can get a lot of those things through that. You still have to pay the cash, but what a cool way to do it. Also, if you want to like disassemble things, you can do it up here. I think that's cool. Repair, paint, whatever. Awesome. Costs a little bit of cash money, but who cares? That's tight. Yeah, because the NPCs are all over the map, it creates some very interesting gameplay. And you kind of don't always know if it's a human or not. Either way, it'll scare you and like cause you to be like, okay, we got to dip. And what's even more nuts, more often than not, it feels like when that happens, whether it's an NPC or a human player, it seems like there's almost always a human player that gets in the mix. So it creates some very interesting gameplay, which I enjoy quite a bit. Let's tell the rest of this real fast. Oh yeah. Yeah, so things like helicopters, airdrops do happen here, which is awesome. The gunplay feels really good. It feels very H1Z1-ish. To maybe even a little bit of Daisy. Actually, Daisy feels a bit more like realistic, but I don't know, like when you're geared up and stuff in Daisy, the gunplay feels fun. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say here. It's fun. I enjoy it. So like I said, Rust is going to have a bunch of major updates coming through that'll make it good. Even if we do have to wait on those a little bit longer, which I hope is not the case. You know, Rust is still a ton of fun to play, but like, what a cool game like Deadside is to like add to the rotation. It's like enough of new stuff and things you wish other games had. It's like a combination of a bunch of things and its own thing that makes it, I think, a lot of fun to play. Even though there's some clunky bits here and there, you can really play around them, and because there's so many people everywhere, it's a ton of fun. And again, I cannot emphasize enough how much I enjoy being able to speak and not have weird speech problems like in Rust on console. Rust on PC is great, but like Rust on console, the comms get really, I don't know, junky fast, and it's not useful at all. Here, I find myself doing it non-stop. I was kind of hoping somebody would be by here, but it's still kind of an early time. But yeah, that's the other thing. The loot tables here feels so good and like fast. Even if you get wrecked, it doesn't take long for you to get back on your feet, which is great. I love DayZ, but it can be slow and you don't always have time to play like that. This game, you can play it as long or as short as you like to, and it makes for some really fun gameplay. And like we said before, it's got different types of vehicles. It's got motorcycles, cars. You can lock them up. I did say that. But they spawn on the regular, so it's not a huge thing if you lose one. You can already see my durability is pretty beat up on this. But you can take it with some of your boyfriends along on here if you want to. And if this thing gets wrecked, and it probably will after running over people, you can just go grab another one. And, like we said prior, you can also make a garage as long as you have the upkeep. Honestly, I think if you get something like a car, get it locked up, it'll be good for doing those big boy loot runs down at, oh my goodness, at the airfield. And so that'll be a car you maybe want to keep on base. I think we said before, yes, that it does have the TC system, which is very familiar to us from Rust, which I think is a great system to kind of keep people active in the wipe, or in the game, or the map. I should say the map. I think that was a player that shot at me. And quick tip for base building, I know it's not as flushed out as us on Rust, but some of the cool things you can do here is, since there's really no ladder system, if you make something too high, like 2 tiles high, nobody can jump in. 1 tile maybe, because you can mantle. You'll see me mantle here in a second. Please open the door. Oh, that's a roaming patrol. You can see that I can mantle up. Oh my goodness, my back. So if anything's 2 tiles high, you're pretty much good to go. And you have locks in different tiers. Again, very familiar for us. Yeah, it's very nice. I enjoy this game quite a bit. I'm looking forward to having this in the rotation. You've already seen us stream this, I think, a couple times by the time you're watching this. And, oh, you can see the upkeep here. So yeah, it's like 60 twig, or I'm sorry, 160 twig, 77 planks, and then some metal. Alright, so that's our basic rundown of Deadside. Hopefully you guys find it enjoyable. This is, what, 30 bucks out there as of recording this? So if you like the open world survival stuff, consider putting this in the rotation, or at least come by and watch us on the live stream to see if you do like it. And, you know, we'll talk to you about it, and hopefully we can give you some action and some funny stuff. Alright, we'll see you guys next one. Love you. Bye! Oof, oof, oof.